All right, guys. So if you're seeing this, that means, why am I frozen? That means that I have been selected for jury duty. It is what it is. I have no idea how many days I will be gone, but it's looking like 5, potentially. So my same expectations that I told you last Friday apply. You need to be on your best behavior. You need to be a kind human. You need to not make the substitute's life harder, or I will cancel all of our fun activities for the end of the year. Simple as that. And I realize that this is a lot of time to potentially mess up. I get that. But remember, apologies go very far. Apologies are great. Okay? So, getting that out of the way because I know that you know my expectation and you know how I expect you to act for a substitute. So, getting that out of the way. Today we're going to write our introduction. And I want to show you a few different things that I didn't have the opportunity to tell you before this about some different things that you can find located on my Canvas page. So you don't have to do this with me right now or anything like that, but what you do need is your introduction outline, because we're going to be filling that in today. And I only have 15 minutes to record for this video. So I'm going to be telling you, okay, go ahead and pause, go ahead and pause, go ahead and pause. Whereas I'm just going to keep going in the video, but I'm going to tell you when to pause so that you can take some time to write it down. Additionally, this is not, me having jury duty is not an excuse to not do your paper, because your paper is going to be due on a specific date, no matter if I am in the classroom or not. Period, end of story. So, me not being here is not an excuse to fall behind and to not work, because we're going to continue going as if I was in the classroom with you. I basically am in the classroom with you because I'm right here, okay? So, there is no excuse to not be doing this with me virtually, okay? Okay, so getting that out of the way, because again, I know. If you are on my Canvas page, and you can be doing this with like on a separate tab, but on my Canvas page, you are going to click on modules. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Sorry. I forgot I made a button. Duh. So when you're on my Canvas page, my home page, and you scroll down to the Lizzie Borden button, you're going to click on that. And then again, you have all of your things that we've looked at before. You've got your podcast episodes. So if you need to go back and listen to any of those again or watch the transcript, remember the transcripts are there. So you don't technically have to reread everything or re-listen to everything. You can go back and look and read. Then underneath here, you have your evidence log, which you've already submitted, your You versus Lizzie Borden, which you've already submitted, and then you have your extra evidence. Now, some of you have already found this, but others have not. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that it was here in case you didn't already know. But this has, and when I tell you it's a lot of information, it's a lot of information. Literally 10 pages worth of information, all compiled from a YouTube video by a YouTuber named Stephanie Harlow, who does a really thorough job with things like this. So this is here for you. I've also provided for you the citation. And if you go back to the Canvas page and you scroll all the way down, you're going to see that there is the 2 citations that I've given you. There's 2 types of citations. I'm going to move myself over here. There are 2 types of citations. The first is an MLA citation. These are the ones that you use if you're doing a works cited page. We are not doing a works cited page, so you don't need to worry about that at this point, okay? The in-text citation is what you are going to need. When you get to tomorrow, writing your body paragraphs and using the evidence and things like that, you're going to need an in-text citation because you always need in-text citation for evidence. So Borden is the in-text citation for the podcast. So any of the things that you got from the podcast or the podcast transcripts is going to be marked with Borden. You do not need to worry about providing a page number, okay? You don't need to worry about it, okay? Then if you got anything from that extra evidence sheet, this one right here that I was just on, this is different because it's a different source. So this one is going to be this citation right here. And you notice I've already put it in quotation marks, or sorry, parentheses for you and put a period at the end. So this is the title of the video, which is how you do an in-text citation for MLA for a YouTube video. So all of that is there for you. You don't have to come up with any of it yourself. We are going to use this a little bit today, but not much. That's why I wanted to make sure that you had this pulled up. So the other thing that you're going to pull up, and it's going to be on your page whenever you're looking at this, right here you're going to see a writing guide, which is what I'm going to be showing you today. So when you're looking at this, it's going to be right here, and you're going to click on it, and it's going to pull up a paper or a document that looks like this. So, so we're going to do our introduction first, which is our first paper. So make sure you have your first paper out and ready to go. And we are going to go through it, section by section. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I want you to put in each section and give you an example. So the first one is where you're going to hook the reader. Every paper has a hook, you know this, okay? So for this one, we want to do something like a statistic from the case, a quotation about Lizzie Borden, a surprising fact, a short story, something that is going to really hook the reader into wanting to read about this case. There are a lot of shocking elements to the Lizzie Borden case, a lot of things that you could use here. You could do the little rhyme that we talked about at the beginning. You could provide some of the statistics as far as the injuries to Andrew and Abby Borden. The things you want to avoid, though, because I see this a lot. No questions. Have you ever heard of Lizzie Borden? No. Okay? Remember that this should be no more than 3 sentences, because a hook is no more than 3. It must be relevant to your topic. Don't give me a random quote or statistic or whatever about something that happened in like Boston, okay? It has to be about Lizzie Borden, and it has to be about Fall River. It has to be about something pertaining to the case. And then the last one, don't forget a citation. If it is not something that comes from your brain, you need to give it a citation. Again, that's where this comes into play. This citations for evidence. If you got it from the podcast, right there. If you got it from the extra evidence log, right there. Okay. So here's my example. And this is a quote from Princess Diana. So remember, if you remember back to yesterday, I told you that I didn't want to give you the same topic. So this says, carry out a random act of kindness with no expectation of reward, safe in the knowledge that one day someone might do the same for you. You may be familiar with this because it's a quote on the back of my wall. So I provided a quote from Princess Diana as my hook. So pause right here, go back to these 2 slides, figure out which one you want to do, and write it down. Okay, moving on to our lead and bridge. This is where your opening argument is key. On your You versus Lizzie, you created an opening argument. This is where you're going to put it, okay? You are going to give me a brief synopsis of what happened to Andrew and Abby Borden. No opinions. I don't want you to tell me that Lizzie did it. I don't want you to tell me any of that. I want you to give me the facts of the case. No opinions. No opinions. So if you're reading your You versus Lizzie opening argument and you're like, that's kind of an opinion, don't use it, okay? When did it happen? And remember, August 4th, 1892. Not June, not July, August 4th, 1892. Okay? So here's my example. Princess Diana was married to Prince Charles in England in the 1990s. After their divorce, she was still a figure in England. Typo. On August 31st, 1997, she was tragically killed in a car crash in Paris, France. Okay? It's 3 sentences, it's short and sweet, and it gives all of the facts about what we're going to talk about. That's what your opening argument needs to be, okay? Pause this video, write your opening argument onto your paper. Okay, counterclaim and rebuttal. Not everybody's going to share your point of view. Not everybody's going to think Lizzie's guilty. Not everybody's going to think that Lizzie's not guilty. You need to pick a way to respond to those people. So I'm going to give you some examples. And P.S., I already did this for you. It's in your counterclaim slide on your You versus Lizzie. I already gave you the counterclaim. Okay, it's the argument, the defense's argument or the prosecution's argument. So if you are saying that Lizzie is guilty, your counterclaim is the fact that some people say that she had a great relationship with her parents. If you are on the defense's side, your argument is that, or their argument is that there was nobody else in the house. Who else could it have been? Who else could it have been? Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So use the argument of the opposing views. Again, if you're the prosecutor, use the defense's argument. You can find this, it's slide number 6 for the prosecution, and then it's going to be the last slide of the document if you're the defense. Okay? The counterclaim is that. Okay? You don't need to reinvent the wheel here. You can use my exact words. Okay? Use my exact words for your counterclaim. So here's my example for Princess Diana. Some people believe that Princess Diana's car crash was staged to get rid of her. Okay? That's my other side of the argument. How I respond to those people is, however, that's my nice way of saying, but, officials have looked into the crash and found that it was truly an accident. Okay? That's how I respond to those people. That's what you need to look at these next couple of sentences. You've already done this. Again, if you did the you versus Lizzie, this is going to be very easy to fill in because literally I gave you the counterclaim up in that top right corner of that slide. And then whatever you put down at the bottom of your rebuttal, that's what you put together. We're just going to put it all together in our counterclaim and rebuttal section. Okay? Pause. Do that. Okay, last thing. Okay? Thesis. You did this yesterday. All we're doing is just transferring it. That's all we're doing. Transfer. That's it. We're just rewriting. That's it. So, I've given you this sentence frame. This is the same sentence frame I gave you yesterday. It is different than the one that I gave you on you versus Lizzie. Whichever one you like better, use that one. I don't care. Lizzie Borden is blank of the murders because blank. It's the same exact one. You can use this sentence frame, or if you decide you like the one from your you versus Lizzie slideshow better, use that one. It does not matter to me, okay? As long as you have Lizzie Borden, as long as you have your stance, guilty or innocent, and as long as you have your reason, you're good, okay? You need to keep this to one sentence. I did go through on the you versus Lizzie, and a lot of you tried to give me like a whole laundry list of reasons that Lizzie was guilty or innocent. We'll save that. Save that for your body. That's good. Okay, save that. However, for this, just one sentence. Okay, just one sentence. And if you need a refresher, go back to yesterday's video and watch that. Okay, so hopefully you've paused throughout this. You need to have, by the end of class today, you need to have all of your introduction written, those 4 categories. Like I told you before, it's going to be very easy if you did your you versus Lizzie. If you didn't do you versus Lizzie, this is going to be a little bit more difficult because you're going to have to start putting some thinking into it, okay? But if you did it before, it should just be very easy to just transfer these things over, okay? Avoid unclear pronouns. However, don't keep saying Lizzie, Lizzie, Lizzie. You can use she if you've already established who you're talking about. But be careful when you're talking about Andrew or not Andrew, I'm sorry, Abby and Lizzie. Make sure you don't get that mixed up. Make sure you don't get the maid mixed up. Whenever you are introducing a new person, make sure you use their name. You don't want your reader to get confused by using those unclear pronouns. Okay? If you have specific questions, I'm not going to read all of them. However, if you have a specific question, you are welcome to email me. I have access to my email. I'm checking it periodically. If you have a specific question, but remember, just like I told you before, I can't tell you what to write. Because if I tell you what to write, I wrote it and not you. I need you to write it. So I need you to use this to the best of your ability, and I need you to write your introduction. Okay? See you soon.